Life is a workout, and Smoothie King is here to help you power through. Whether you're crushing morning miles or sprinting through back-to-back meetings, give your body the energy, protein, and power it needs to help you conquer your goals. Only at Smoothie King.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Michael,
And I'm Molly.
and we are here to discuss another week of Big Brother, as well as the premiere and launch special of the Challenge 41 Vets and New Threats. So, we are excited to get into a new season of the challenge, and of course, still a lot to talk about on Big Brother. This cast is cracked and we are loving it. They are giving us maybe not some great gameplay, but a whole lot of entertainment. So, Molly, are you ready to get started?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So we are picking up where we left off last week. Right after Lauren's nominations, she nominated Keanu as her target, Kelly, who once again volunteered, of course, and Will as a pawn. Will does not take this very well, though. He is very upset because he doesn't want to keep being an easy pawn week after week, which I understand that. That can't be easy, because, people might be telling you that you're a pawn, but we know from watching years and years and years of Big Brother that pawns do go home.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not 100% you'll be safe if you're up there, of course. So, anyone who is a pawn, it's reasonable to be upset at that. And just because also Will had just been up, like he was like, maybe I could be safe this week. And then right back at it again, up on the block. So, that's
Mhm.
definitely not a great place to be.
And I actually do think that it at times can be a good idea to, even if you're not that upset, like even if you actually are deep down, like feel pretty safe, I think it's good not to show that because it really makes an HOH's nominations very easy when they're looking for someone just easy who they think won't come after them, won't be bitter, won't be too upset about it. That's an easy person to nominate. Like a Kelly, for example. She's shown that she will just volunteer. And so it's easy week after week to just be like, well, Kelly's okay with it. So I think it's good to be like, oh no, like maybe Will's not as okay as we think he is with it, and maybe that is a little bit more dangerous that I'm making an enemy out of someone than I originally thought.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, Kelly is crying, but then it's also like, I mean, she's still volunteering herself. So, how does she really feel about it? Like, she obviously isn't obviously totally okay with it, but she is still offering it. So,
Yes, she is week after week. As many times as she might say that she's not going to do it again,
she
she
doesn't.
will more than likely do it again.
Yep.
But Ashley thinks that she'll be the renom if someone comes down after the veto, which at the time seemed pretty likely.
Mhm.
So it's good that she at least is self aware enough to know that that is a possibility. But that is right now what she is thinking will happen. But we will, stay tuned. Maybe not so much that that's what will happen. But then we get a scene here about the love triangle between Zach, Morgan, and Lauren. So Zach knows that Morgan likes him, but he feels deep down that he has a better connection with Lauren. And I think it was Vince that said in the diary room that Lauren's just trying to play the game.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not, based on her how her HOH went, but she isn't necessarily trying to get into a showman. So I think he's right about that. But what do you think about this love triangle here, Molly? Do you think that anything will come out of any of the three of them?
I feel like because Zach is just really not into Morgan and really focused on Lauren, there's really not a shot there for Morgan, unfortunately, even though like they still talk and like have a good friendship. I think that it's just a friendship for them and that Zach and Lauren could maybe become something more like in the showmance, but Lauren's gonna have to come around to that, which I feel like she would. Like at this point, like I'm like I feel like she would eventually come around to that, so I could see it happening between Zach and Lauren in the future, but it's gonna be a slow burn for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I see any of them happening during the show. I could see Lauren being much more okay with like going on a date with him after the show is over. I think that Lauren though is very set on not having a showmance, and I thought I'm guilty preseason. I thought, okay, something's gonna happen here. Like Lauren may be saying, I think she said preseason that she didn't want a showmance, but I was like, oh, people say that, but she'll come around if Zach is into her, which I think we all kind of clocked that. This feels like a very likely. Like they just seem like they look good together.
Yeah.
But it seems like I think if it was going to happen, I feel like it probably would have by now. Like I think if Lauren was going to give in, I mean it's week 4. Like it's kind of late for a showmance to start now in the game, but it has happened. So you never know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if anything, like they're still going to be close to each other, so there's that.
Yes, they will. And as the numbers keep dwindling, if the two of them are still in there, then, they're going to have to spend more and more time together. So you never know. But going back to the game here, we get a segment about Vince. And Vince, this has been a topic of conversation for the last couple of weeks. That Vince is this person who just tells everybody what they want to hear. He is like the biggest yes man that you will ever find, and he is just a chameleon when it comes to just talking to people. And this is, specifically mentioned in terms of will he use the veto if he wins veto, and who will he use it on if he will use it at all. And he's just kind of, when people are asking him what he would do, he's telling everybody a different story. He's telling them all what they want to hear, which is great in that moment, but is going to eventually come to a head because people tend to talk in the Big Brother house and people are going to compare notes, and eventually this could backfire on him. But do you think that this is still a good move, or do you think that this will eventually really come back around on him?
I don't think it's great that he's just saying like very conflicting things too. It's not like so if one thing like he's agreeing to like isn't related to the other. Like they are all related. Like he's like telling multiple people he's going to take them down from if he wins the power veto. Like that's not going to happen. Like if you have the power veto, you can only take out one person. So for that, like that would definitely have backfired if he had won that, or got chosen for it first. But also, I feel like in general like you don't want to agree to everything like that's just not great gameplay because something is going to backfire against you with that. Like in the moment it might feel good and like that person will want to hear what you're saying, but then later on it's definitely not going to be good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there is a way to do this that works. I think where you go just far enough when you're talking to someone to make them feel like you are on their side and they can trust you and that they can tell you all of their, deepest, darkest gameplay secrets. But I then not quite crossing that line of actually promising something. Like, I think you just kind of have to go up to that to be like, I will do the very best that I can to do blah 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 blah. And then when it comes right down to it, then you kind of just find a little reason to be like, oh, sorry, I really wish I could have done this, but because of X, Y, and Z, I can't. And then, you didn't lie and you make the person feel like you tried your hardest. You really did everything you could to do that, but sorry. And I think that's what Vince is struggling with. Like, I think he's just kind of like promising the world to everyone. And yeah, like eventually when you can't deliver on that, people are going to be upset. So, we'll see what happens. It feels like he is somehow falling backwards into a good place in the house and people really like him. And he had a horrible week 1 HOH, it felt like, at least at the
Mhm.
time. But when we look back now, everyone's had a horrible HOH and his isn't looking so bad anymore. So
Yeah.
you really never know, especially it feels like this season things that you think should go terribly are somehow working out.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely we'll have to keep an eye on it, but at this point, it's interesting just to see him promising all of it, and now I feel like it's gonna set up for something, but now we don't know what that's gonna set up for.
Yeah. Well, Vince is picked to play in the
Yeah.
veto along with Ashley, who was Will's house guest choice. And they are, of course, playing with the three nominees, and Lauren is HOH. So the house guests find out then that they will not only be winning the power of veto, but they will also be playing to get a screening of Bad Guys 2, the movie. And the winner will be able to select three other house guests of their choice to watch that with them. Did you watch Bad Guys 1?
No, I did not. Not really my type of movie, so I wasn't
Didn't
that thrilled.
either.
I was like, "Oh, it's exciting for people who like this," but I'm not into that, guys.
Yeah, I did not either. Rachel though seemed very excited, and it seemed like a lot of times, oh, people seem excited on the show or in the diary room, they make them seem so excited. But Rachel, I think, really is. Like, it seemed like she was talking about that this is a movie that she watched with her kids and that she enjoyed as well. So that felt that I think that was very genuine on Rachel's part, the excitement. So it's good to have somebody in there who actually is genuinely excited, that they don't have to just like make pretend like they are.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for Rachel's excitement, I feel like no one would have been excited for it either. Like,
Yeah.
because it definitely feels more of like a kid kind of movie, and so because Rachel has kids, obviously she's seen it with her kids,
Hmm.
so it was good to see that. Because then I actually wanted to like watch the trailer for it, like and see maybe watch Bad Guys 1 this weekend, and then we start like looking at that, and I was like, yeah, never mind, this isn't the movie
Yeah.
that I want to
If
watch.
only Amy had still been there, she probably would have been excited too. I feel like that would be Amy's type of movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, then we get to the veto comp, and it's called Basement Break-In, and it is a classic laser maze. This is something that we've seen on multiple past seasons of Big Brother, as well as The Traitors, and I'm sure many other shows. It feels like this is a classic challenge that we see all the time. But they have to grab a crystal from the safe and then get it back without hitting the laser in the fastest amount of time. Now, Keanu ends up winning this. We see that Vince threw the competition, but he ended up getting third, which felt like a good way to throw it, where you're not like in last place by a lot and it's just really obvious that you're throwing it, but getting somewhere, where they can see, okay, he was in third place, so it didn't feel like a throw, which I think was really good for him because he was able to make all those promises and, at least for now, get away with it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I was watching the competition, I was like, I actually didn't even know who would have won because we couldn't tell, like, based on the timing of it, like the editing that they were showing us. Like, I'm like, it really could have just been anyone here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun one to watch if you don't, but also I wish kind of we had like the more of like the timing of like understanding who
Hmm.
could actually win it.
Yes. Well, we get the first three times, but we don't get,
That's
everyone else. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Keanu ends up winning, which of course he was the target this week, so that puts Lauren in an interesting position, having to figure out her third nominee. But Keanu ends up taking Jimmy, Rachel, and Ava to the movie reward with him, so Rachel gets to see the movie she was so excited about, which is great. Now Lauren is debating. Now this, I mean, we didn't get a great idea of this on the show, but on the feeds this was painful to watch, Lauren, all week long. Like, just deliberating back and forth and back and forth. And just every conversation she had was just like, I don't know. I'm so scared. What am I going to do? Like, it was a tough watch for those few days between Saturday when the veto comp takes place and Monday when she had to make her decision. So it's really between Ashley and Adrian. And Vince is very lightly pushing for Ashley to go up, but Vince is the type of player, like we kind of talked about, that he is not going to, really full force, like try to force Lauren to do anything. He is just kind of very lightly trying to pinch her in that direction, but I think Lauren is the type of player who really needs somebody to be like, this is what we need to do. And, not to say like, this is what you have to do, like make her feel like you're forcing her to do something, but to be like, here's the reasons, this is that, this is the best move for you, like make your own decision, but like, here's the facts. This is what I think you should do.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I feel like in general, like that's like with Lauren being so indecisive, like it's obviously she's gonna have to choose a side here too, where like at some point she's gonna have to choose one way or the other. And I don't know. I feel like with Vince there, he's sometimes pushing it, but then also like being laid back and being like, okay, like do what you want to do,
Yeah.
which also didn't help Lauren in that way because then she's like, well, I still don't know what I'm gonna do. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's, when we were recording last week's episode, it was, this time last week, and we really thought at this time that, okay, she's probably going to go with Ashley. Like, I think, we were like, okay, she's debating Adrian, but like, she's been saying since the beginning, like, that Ashley is the most likely replacement nom. And this just kind of felt like, weighing her options and like not telling people what she was going to do, but like, at the end of the day she'll kind of go with her first gut instinct to go with Ashley. But she did not. Rachel came in and tried to get her to not let others run her HOH, and she didn't like that approach, I guess, to it, because she felt like, oh, you're telling me to not let Vince run my HOH, but you're now trying to run my HOH, and so she didn't like that approach to Rachel trying to save Ashley. But then Mickey comes in, and some others come in, and they really push a lot harder to get Lauren to put up Adrian than Vince tried to get her to put up Ashley. And so she just kind of ended up. Those were the last people that she really talked to for a long period of time, and who were pushing her in one direction, and that made an impact because she didn't get. That was kind of the last people in her ear who were really like pushing her hard and saying like, well, clearly then I'm going to upset a whole lot of people, and I'm going to really be declaring war if I put up Ashley. And then she also really, Keanu came in and was like, I'll take all the blame for it, like, if you put up Ashley, like, it's on me. And she also really didn't want to be associated with Keanu, and was like, well, Keanu's a target, so I don't want to be associated with him. And if that's what he wants me to do, then maybe that's what I don't want to do. So, surprise of a lot of people, she ultimately puts up Adrian.
Yeah, no, I was shocked about that, but then like hearing all of the deliberations between like of everyone going in and like all that stuff, that like it does make sense that she went with Adrian here for in general, like at this point in the game, like she didn't want to upset people that she wants to be close with. And with that, like Adrian kind of was just already, he was a comp beast, kind of like winning BB Blockbuster, and that like obviously puts a threat on him as well. So it made sense to me that he went up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the safe choice.
Yeah.
It's the choice that you can do where you're not fully declaring war. And I think that at some point it felt like she was ready to do it. Like she
Mhm.
was, wanting to put a line in the sand, and she was okay with that. But then I think as she thought about it, it got scarier and scarier and scarier. And she was realizing, oh my God, I'm associating myself, if I do this, with a lot of people who are kind of house targets. And I'm putting myself in the same camp as them. And I think she realized, I don't want to do that. All these people are really pushing me and telling me that I'm going to be safe if I do this, that they're going to protect me. And I think that felt like, at that point, a little bit of the safer option, that she could do that and let all of them think that she's still fully with them, but then potentially still get out Will, who's a number for them. So it's like, I'm still getting out somebody from their side, but they're not going to target me. And I think that was her thought, was that she would have the votes to get out Will, and she could kind of keep herself in a very middle good position while also still getting out someone, at least from the side, who she was intending to target, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. And I feel like that's ultimately what was going to happen for
Yeah.
for this HOH.
Yes. So Mickey and Morgan, we get a segment about the two of them, because they have been very close the whole week. or sorry, the whole week, the whole game, and they have a final two together. But there's starting to be some mistrust between the two of them. The wedge between them is starting to grow as time goes on, and Mickey is starting to mistrust Morgan because of her closeness with Vince and Zach, and. Zach tells Morgan that Mickey is talking about Morgan, Vince, and Zach being a trio, and he's doing this in an effort to kind of grow that wedge between the two of them. And Mickey told Adrian about this. Adrian told Zach, so that's how the information got back to Zach. And this is really pissing off Morgan. So now, really, both of them are kind of secretly having issues and mistrusting the other without really talking about it to each other. So they're both kind of at the same time really starting to question each other, but they don't necessarily know that the other one is feeling that way.
Yeah, no, this was interesting because we had the whole behind the scenes perspective of this, and they obviously don't know what's going on with the conversations that are being held, and they're just hearing things. And obviously, you can also see when people are with each other. Like Mickey can also see Morgan hanging out with Vince and Zach too, but like I don't think she would have known it was like a final three, whatever, like what they were saying about it. So it was interesting to see that. I mean, for Zach to do that, like it's good gameplay for him, but like obviously not great for Morgan and Mickey because they are so close or were. I don't know where they're gonna go from here, but I feel like it's interesting just to see the dynamics of these alliances or friendships that are evolving.
Yeah, I mean, to me at least, it feels like that by now in real time, they're good. I mean, like, I don't look like, I'm not Taron Armstrong. He probably knows the I can't say that word. Intricacies? Is that right?
Intricacies.
Intricacies, thank you, of their relationship at the moment. But since Mickey's been HOH, like, it feels like to me they have different agendas, like aren't necessarily like super close to the same people, like or targeting all the same people. And so I think that there's definitely potential for them to kind of eventually this divide to grow further and further. But like Mickey's not targeting Morgan, she's not going to nominate Morgan. Like they're on the same side still at the end of the day. So I think like, are they necessarily maybe going to be like as close of a final two and like constantly having like being seen and felt like as a pair? I don't necessarily think so, because I think their games just aren't quite aligning in that way. But I think that they will continue to be on the same side enough at least that like they're not going to target each other for at least another like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, then we get to talk about the vote. Now, the really like if Kelly lost Battle of the Block, the BB Blockbuster, um, it's it seemed like a done deal that she would go home. Like nobody is sticking their neck out on the line enough to just like to save Kelly. So I think the easy vote, like if Kelly doesn't win this, she's probably going home against either Will or Adrian. But a lot of the topic of conversation over the few days before the vote was what would happen if Will and Adrian are left on the block together. So the boys plus Lauren, Kat, and Kelly want Adrian to stay over Will, since he would be a vote on their side, whereas they think Will would be a vote on the other side with most of the girls. Now, they have 6 votes that they know of for sure, and Lauren agreed to break the tie. So this is kind of the plan going in, was that they would be a tie, Lauren would break it, and then Will would go home. But the night before the vote, Zach tries to get one more vote so that Lauren doesn't have to break a tie. Take that pressure off of her. Let's get 7 votes to be safe, and that way, even if one person decides to flip, whatever, they have a little bit of an extra padding. But then Ava wasn't as good with it as they thought she would be. And not only did Ava basically say, no, I'm not doing that, but she basically convinced Zach to back out of it completely, to completely go away with the whole idea and to just, flip and vote Adrian out. So Zach then talks to Vince. They both agree. Let's abort plan. Basically, Ava's pitch was that they don't want to associate with the house targets like Keanu and Kelly and Riley. Like, why would they want to associate themselves with those people? And basically they were like, yeah, that's a good point. So it's crazy how much power little Ava just, says one word and the whole plan is kaputs.
I know. That was great. I love Ava, so it was great to see her making that big of an impact on Zach for switching that up because I feel like that was, I mean, such a big moment. Of course, that's how it then swayed the vote for sure. Because in that moment, you don't always know. It's like, oh, is he going to actually stick to that or go back to the boys' plan? But he stuck to the plan with Ava, so that was really interesting to see that.
Yeah, it really is telling, I think, of how much everyone loves Ava and just thinks really highly of her and her opinion that like she doesn't talk a whole lot of game with people that I see at least. And but it feels like when she does, people listen. And I think that's so important that you have such a great social game that like you're not really seen as like super on one side or the other, that you have a good enough relationship with everyone that nobody wants to see you go home. Like you're not just like somebody, like, I'm trying to think of an example of somebody who's like kind of like not super close with anyone, but like in a way that's bad to where everyone's okay with them going home. But like that's not Ava. Like Ava is close enough with everyone, or at least people just like her enough that it's like, okay, she may not be like a solid, super solid, like close ally of mine that I talk game with all the time, but like I love her and I don't want her to go home. And I think that's just something about that that's just so powerful that it's like, oh, you're not okay with like, yeah, actually you're right. Like this whole plan that we've been deciding for 2 days, we're just gonna backpedal and yet whatever you say.
I know. It's great to see though, because I love Ava, so I'm
Yeah.
happy she's doing this.
Yes, me too. Well, it turns out then that on eviction night, Kelly wins Battle of the Block. I will always say that. And oh my god. BB Blockbuster. I need to write it out fully in my notes and not just put BBB like I've been doing because that also works Battle of the Block. I don't know,
I
maybe it
know,
doesn't, but it
the
seems like it should.
BBB.
Yeah. But so Kelly wins. It's a competition where you have to spot the differences between two rooms, which I love because that's a fun game that we can play along with. And
Yeah.
like they showed both of them at the same time on screen, which really helped. And you could kind of just like really look at it and try to see how many you can find. Will put 16. The right answer was 8. And everyone else, I think, put 6 and 7. I think Kelly put 7, and Adrian put 6, and then Will put 16, which a lot of people think that maybe he was counting like each difference as 2.
Um,
I am not sure how you could possibly think that that is correct. I think it must have been just like nerves, and he's just like quickly counting, not really thinking about it. But it's crazy because if he had like, let's just say that he actually counted every difference. If he had just thought about it right before and was like, oh wait, that would be 8, not 16, he would have won.
yeah. No, that is crazy because the number was just so much higher than everyone else's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that would have been crazy, and then it would have been Kelly being sent home.
Yeah, it would have been a totally different game this week, which is just wild to think about. But she did not. And Kelly ends up winning another BBO blockbuster, and it is Will and Adrian left on the block in that case. And Adrian is sent home because Vince and Zach backed out of their plan. The vote was 8-4. So the four to evict Will were Catherine, Riley, Keanu, and Kelly. And what did you think about Adrian going home here?
I was sad to see Adrian go, but also like he wasn't my favorite player in the game, so it wasn't like that sad to see him go, but I also felt bad because of how emotional everyone was getting. Also to see him being up on the block and as an option to go home. But I'm happy that he has his bread pillow now.
Yes, so happy about that for him.
Yeah.
He needs to sell those,
Yeah.
get in while the iron's hot, straight, whatever that saying is. And yeah, Adrian, super, super sweet guy, I think. Just not cut out for Big Brother. Like, I almost think maybe he's one of those players that if he had played in like 2 or 3 years when he was a little bit older, I think that maybe he would have been a better player and not quite so in his head. So, like, about like all about honesty and integrity. Like, I think he would have thrived on Survivor 48.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But
Really been part of Joe's minions.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. But no, he's really, really sweet. Not who at all I think any of us thought he would be preseason when he was this like arrogant, cocky, like I'm gonna be the best. I'm already the best player of all time. Like I don't know where that guy went, but that was not who we saw in the house at all. But yeah, so Adrian is unfortunately sent home here. And then we get to the fallout from that vote. So Zach tells Keanu that he switched his vote because he didn't want Lauren to have to break a tie, which not totally true, I guess, because Lauren was very okay with doing that at the very least. It's not like Lauren was scared to do that. She was more in on the plan, I think, than he was. But he says that that is his reasoning behind it. And Kelly is pissed at Vince because Vince, she thought was her closest ally in the house. And Vince did not warn her about this vote. And he is trying to explain himself, but she really does not want to hear it, at least not at that moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course Kelly's gonna be mad at Vince here because if she's so close to Vince or thinks she's close to Vince and then Vince isn't telling her what he's doing in the vote that obviously is going to impact her also in her game, then that's not great for their relationship at all.
Yeah, it seemed like this really kind of bonded Catherine, Riley, Keanu, and Kelly together as a foursome
Yeah.
because they were the four who, were betrayed by a couple people, Zach and Vince, who they thought were their allies. And I think that this, if anything, was an eye-opening experience for them to think like, okay, maybe we can't fully trust them because they backed out of this without warning any of us, and they were, running, skewing to get on the right side of the numbers and left us out in the cold. So I think now, if anything, the four of them know we can trust each other, if nobody else.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, then we get to the HOH competition. Killer Carnival. I thought this was a very cool competition. I
Yeah.
really, really liked it. The setup was really cool. I liked how it was kind of this like multiple rounds and the rules were changing every time and they had to put each other in teams. And I like that they have to put each other in teams because it really shows who gravitates to who, who is like very quickly running to be on, on their side and who were they leaving out of that. And I think that says a lot about the social dynamics in the house.
Yeah, no, I like the teams, and we already got a little bit of drama with that because Kelly wasn't chosen. So the people that she all voted with, like, they didn't want her with their team, which was sad for Kelly, but also then she got to move on to the next round without having to worry about the first round. So it kind of worked out for her. But seeing those lines draw, like, just kind of, it was interesting to see that in the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that should tell Kelly a lot that she is not anyone's number one priority, that people really are, totally okay with her going on the block, with her going home. Like, if she's ever up there on that block, I think she needs to know, on eviction night, she does not win BB Blockbuster. I think she needs to know that unless something really changes and she gets a better social game, she's very, very likely going home.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I feel like she knows that at this point.
I think she does too. I think she really knows because I think we saw that when the nominees were set last week that she was like, well, like
Yeah.
the Lauren putting these nominations is sending me home. So I think that was or she said in the DR at least that those were actual genuine tears and that she kind of knew like this is my death notice unless I win BB Blockbuster. So I think she knows, but this was, if anything, if she didn't already, she does now.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Riley ends up winning this competition, but not quite fully the HOH yet, because it is alarm goes off in the house, and it is announced that the HOH interrogation power has been unleashed. We know that Mickey has it, but the house guests do not. Well, some of them do not quite yet. And Riley is one of those people who does not know for sure who has it, so he has to do 3-minute interrogations with everybody in order to try to suss out who has this power. Now, Mickey is, before they get to these interrogations, Mickey tells a few people that she has it, including Rachel, Ashley, and Morgan, who already knows. But she tells Rachel and Ashley so that they can help her out with trying to make it seem like Ashley has the power. I believe on feeds, I didn't see this, but I believe Taryn at some point said that Rachel was the one who was telling them, like, let's all put it on Ashley. Let's make it seem like Ashley has it so that we can take the heat off of Mickey. And it ends up working out because
Yeah.
Riley is fully convinced that Ashley is the one who has the power. We see a little bit of drama on the couches too, as these interrogations are going on. That Ashley is a little bit too happy, and that Catherine, of all people, calls this out and says, "Are you happy that Riley's having a rough day? That he's really upset about this? Like, it seems like you're pretty happy about this." And Rachel gets involved defending Ashley. So I love that little bit of drama that we didn't know happened. At least I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, and that was kind of a wild conversation that they were having. Like I wasn't expecting Kat to go at Ashley like that, and obviously that's gonna put a target on her now. If Ashley gets HOH, like she's gonna want to put up Kat right away now. But yeah, it's not like, I mean, Ashley obviously knew that like what was happening and that side of it, but Kat didn't know. So it was good the faking that they were doing to try to get it to be on Ashley.
Hmm. It's funny because there's a lot of talk about Jimmy quoting Drag Race all the time this season, that all of his comebacks are all Drag Race. But Catherine, whether unknowingly or knowingly, just quoted Real Housewives of Orange County's Emily Simpson. If you go back to the season 16 premiere of the Real Housewives of Orange County, she is having an argument with someone who I forgot her name. She was Nicole James, who was not on the show at all, actually, as a cast member, but was supposed to be that season. And Nicole was very drunk, and she was like, "Girl, sit down." And then Emily was sitting right next to her, and she's like, "I am sitting." So I don't know if Kat's a Real Housewives fan, but she this line that I think a lot of people are liking. Not the first time, at least I have heard that.
Yeah, no, that was good. I'm glad that Rachel came in to help protect Ashley in that moment too. But that was a funny moment, and then they just stormed off together.
Yeah, yeah. This was fun. I wish we had gotten to see it on feeds, but this was really fun in the episode to watch all this go down. So Riley has to make his official guess after all these interrogations, and he does incorrectly guess that Ashley is the one with the power. So Mickey is successful and becomes the HOH, and boy, Riley's not happy about it.
Oh no, he was mad, and then it was funny because then the rest of the house guests were like, it's a game," like trying to calm him down. But obviously, Riley didn't want to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, we heard that this was pretty bad, Riley's meltdown, and I'm excited to see if there's more to this. I'm sure there is, because when the feeds came back after this, like he was just like very emotional. Like she and Kat were just like sitting on upstairs and on the couch, and she was trying to console him. So by the time the feeds came back, like he was past the anger stage and kind of in the more like sadness stage. So I'm curious to see, is there more here to the anger part of it before we get to that sadness point. But yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. Like this got me excited for Wednesday's episode for sure.
Oh, I know. There's gonna be so much on Wednesday's episode now. I feel like we're gonna have a lot
Yeah.
to go through.
Which I'm glad because it's a 90-minute episode. So we're
Yeah.
finally taking advantage of that 90 minutes because we didn't get the nominations yet.
Right.
So there's a lot to get to in those 90 minutes, especially because as we're about to get to, this replacement nom situation has become real interesting, real chaotic. So there's a lot to get to even with that. So
Yeah.
let's get into some feed spoilers now. So if you are not wanting to be spoiled, just fast forward just a few minutes. We won't talk about it for very long, but we do want to get caught up in real time here. So the nominations, Mickey's nominations, are Keanu, Kelly, and Riley. Keanu is once again, of course, the target, but I mean, I think everyone would be pretty okay with Riley going home as well. And Kelly's just an easy one because she, as always, volunteers and is fully okay with it. But surprise, surprise, somehow do not adjust your TVs because you may think that we're this last week or maybe the week before, but Keanu does once again win veto. So we are here as always. It's becoming the new, Jack has won HOH, Jack has won veto meme that is just like constantly we see on Twitter and Blue Sky that was every week during Big Brother 25. That's become Keanu winning veto is becoming the new that. So we'll see how much longer that lasts, but we're here once again, third week in a row. But now that's where things get really interesting. Because you would think, easy. Mickey had already been talking about Kat being the fourth option. She was considering Kat maybe being an initial nom. But not so fast, because this is becoming a lot more complicated for some reason. Mickey's a little bit afraid of nominating Kat because she thinks that Kat is so associated with Riley that if she nominates Kat, then one of her or Riley is, or both of them potentially, will definitely be back next week, and this is going to really upset them, upset their side of the house potentially. So she's a little scared to do that, and she thinks that it would also be a waste of an HOH if you put up Kat and Kat goes home. Then she thinks that's a waste of a week. So now she's potentially considering putting up Jimmy, who is on her side.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's a little confused of that. Like, yes, he's a problem. Like, yes, eventually he's like kind of playing both sides. He's a little sneaky. Like, yeah, he's probably had some lies to them that they've caught him in. But at the end of the day, like, he's not targeting Mickey by any means. He wouldn't. Well, honestly, this season, who knows? He might put Mickey up.
But in the HOH comp, like in one of the DRs that we saw of him saying he would have, like, we want to keep Mickey safe in
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So, like, that's why that's also extra surprising to see Mickey then wanting to put up Jimmy because Jimmy has her back.
yeah. It's kind of crazy. But that's not where this ends. Because today, Rachel goes up to Mickey and starts talking about, oh, well, I think we all expected Rachel to try to save Jimmy. That when she hears that she's considering putting up Jimmy, that Rachel would try to talk her out of it. I think that everyone assumed that. What we didn't assume was that she was going to talk her out of it by putting up Ava. Now, at first, everyone's thinking, Ava? What the hell? They have a final two. Rachel and Ava are a final two. And Ava's fully, like, on their side of the house, like, an ally for them. So, like, what? Where did that come from? But as this conversation goes on, it becomes clear, I think clear. Some people still to this day, or to this day, like to this hour, I guess.
It's very fresh.
Oh my god, today is like on the feeds, it feels like 3 days. But people still, some people maybe think that she was actually talking about Ava. But a lot of people now think that she was using Ava as a code word to talk about herself. Because what a lot of the conversation was Rachel saying, Ava doesn't want to be in jury away from her family. Ava has a life back home that she wants to get back to, like all this stuff because Rachel had heard last night that Mickey and Morgan and maybe Jimmy or someone else, I can't remember, were talking about bringing Rachel to jury and then making her the first juror. And Rachel, I think to Rachel, that's like her biggest fear coming back. Because if she's the first juror, that means she's sitting in that jury house away from her family for no reason, basically, for like 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how she wants to be spending her summer. Like, she wants to either be in the game playing or back home. And so to be the first juror is like the worst spot I think that she could possibly imagine being in. And so I think my thought is that she's using Ava as this code word so that she can be like, look, if you're going to just put me as the first juror, like if that's the plan here, send me home now. Because, like, I want to be able to go back home to my family if I don't really have a shot at winning or making it very far. But she doesn't want to be seen as a quitter. She doesn't want to go on TV and say that she's quitting because she's a game player. That's not what she wants to do. So I think that she's using Ava so that they can't use this footage. Like it would be too confusing for
Right.
producers to put this in the episode and for no reason Rachel's putting Ava up on the block and then like it never happens. Like there's no other conversations about Ava going on the block, but then Rachel ends up on the block somehow. Like this is going to be very confusing for producers, but she doesn't want to give them that footage of her looking like a quitter. So I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean that's really smart of Rachel to do that. I'm like, I don't know if I would have thought of that. But I feel like I don't know. I'm just so surprised that Mickey wouldn't put up Kat because like that's such an easy option there. And at this point, like you've already ruined your relationships with her and Riley. Like, why not just finalize that even more? So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see who is that replacement.
Yeah, I mean that is the obvious move. I think that's the right move. Um, eh, or put a Vince. Like I think Vince is the other one. I don't know that she's gonna end up doing that. It seemed like though Rachel, although she was volunteering herself, she was also saying like Vince is the best option. Like she was really pushing Vince, but basically saying like if it's not Vince, if you're not willing to put up Vince, put me up. So I think that's really like, and now I haven't seen this because we've been on here and I was watching the episode, but right before we got on here, I was hearing Taryn say like, it seems like now on feeds, Rachel's backing off a little bit from volunteering herself and really now pushing Vince more. So I think Jimmy or Vince seem to be the likeliest answers here. Like it seems like Kat somehow got away for a year. I'm not sure how that happened, but it seems like she's not even really being talked about that much as of right now. That could change again. Like they could talk so much to death about Jimmy and Vince and talk themselves out of it that Kat somehow ends up coming back around as the right answer that they end up with. I wouldn't be shocked. So, but right now it seems like Jimmy is probably most likely, and then Vince I would say is probably second most likely.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be some interesting episode we're gonna get on Wednesday.
Yeah,
So
there's not going to be enough time for filler. Like, we're not going to get a scene of Adrian doing the washing machine. Like, I think this is going to be a pretty jam packed episode. Uh, and I'm excited for it. But that's all for now for Big Brother. So let's get into some Challenge 41 premiere vets and new threats. Molly, take
yes.
it away.
Let's do it. I know I was excited that the challenge is back and now with faces that I also recognize, not just coming from the challenge world, but now we have more people from Big Brother, Amazing Race, other CBS shows, and we just have a great, I feel like it's a good so far cast that we've seen on the show. Obviously, we've only had a launch special and then the premiere episode, so it's pretty new already, but so far so good. But Michael, what are your thoughts?
I really like it so far. I am enjoying it. I think that we've needed some new faces on this show because technically season 39 and season 40 both did not have any rookies. 39 was a lot of newer faces, but they also all of them had been on some form of the challenge before that, whether it was USA or some other international version, or coming from, a previous season of the challenge. So it really had been quite a while, it felt like, since we really saw actual fully new faces on the challenge. And I think that they got a really good group here. It seems like they're finally going a bit younger again, which feels very much more old school, where they would, have people from Real World that were all in their early 20s. So it feels like we're going a little bit younger, which is good because a lot of our vets are aging and they're getting into their 40s, and it's like I don't know how much longer they can be on this physically draining type of a show. It feels like there is kind of an expiration date, unfortunately, on a show like The Challenge. So I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to be out there. So I'm glad that we're continuing to expand our pool and getting in some new faces here to kind of headline this fifth era of the show.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm happy to see the new faces and faces that I recognize as well, which are great. But I was glad to see that also that they're playing alongside the vets, because like they're not necessarily they're competing with a vet. Like it's a what do they call the new threats?
Pairs?
Yeah.
Right.
The
Oh,
new
the new
threat,
threats. Yeah.
the new threats, not just the rookie, even though they are their first time.
Yeah.
So the new threats and the vets together as a team, which I like that as well. That aspect of it, just so that it's not like all the new threats, all of the vets. Obviously, that wouldn't be fair. So this is a good
Yeah.
format of it too.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they've always done with seasons like this, where it's half and half. Like they've done this, War of the Worlds was the most recent one, season 33, where they did that. Fresh meat seasons in the past, where it was back in the older days, they would have people who were just like totally random, like they would cast them, and this would be the challenge was their first show on those seasons. And now we've gone past that point where they're going to pull new faces from other shows because they've expanded beyond just MTV. So now they have all of this time, all these, they don't have to cast brand new people. They can just pull people from whatever show they want to. But what I think is interesting is that this time around, we now know, because of the end of this episode, these aren't their pairs. The pairs that they get into here are not going to be for the whole season, so they're constantly going to be changing partners, which is interesting because
Mhm.
that's something that we haven't seen before on a season like this where it's half and half. So they're not going to be just fully associated with one vet. All the vets are going to have to kind of play with all the rookies, and so I think that that's going to really shake things up quite a bit. But I really like this premiere. There was a lot of drama already, like a close vote, a betrayal. I mean, like, there's a lot happening here that in just the premiere that I feel like normally these first votes are a lot more straightforward and easy. So I really liked the fact that we got some good bit of drama already.
Yes, agreed. So let's talk more about these episodes. So, for the first challenge, all 32 challengers had to climb up a mountain, and then that would then determine the order that they would determine who they get to choose. Sorry, I was mixing my words. So then, whoever got up to the mountain first then gets to choose their partner first, and in that order, they just go down. And that whoever gets next gets to choose.
Yeah.
So I think that made sense in that way, that like it made it fair that whoever was strong could get their partner first. Um,
Yeah, and they've done things like this before, but what was different is that typically either the vets all choose the new threats that they want as their partner, or the new threats choose which vet they want. Like they in the past they've always done it where it was one or the other got to choose, only from that other category, if that makes sense. I don't know that I'm
yeah.
wording that right, but this time it was like depending on what order, like it could be a new threat choosing a vet or a vet choosing a new threat. Like it was just
Yeah.
fully whatever order they were all competing. I feel like in the past what they've done is just have like the new threats or the fresh meat or whatever you want to call it. Like those would be the only ones competing in the first challenge, so that the vets could kind of spot and see who's, this was like their training, that like they're proving themselves. Whereas now the vets had to compete also, and we're just as trying just as hard so that they would be able to pick like high up in the order. So I like that the vets didn't just get a free ride; like they had to also compete and prove their stripes. And the new threats were kind of crushing them.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I felt like they came out with a lot of energy, and that challenge also was hard. Like getting up that mountain, like that's not an easy thing you got to do there.
Oh my god,
Uh,
especially like with some of their outfits, because they were apparently told that like, oh, like just wear your airplane clothes. Like, they didn't know that they were going straight into competition. So like I think Naya's wearing jeans, like they were not prepped for this at all. So I kind of like that, keep them on their
yeah.
toes.
Yeah. For sure. So we have the original teams now once they choose their teammate, but obviously we know now these aren't who they're going to stay with. But we can go through these and just give our thoughts on overall the players and their team right now. So Jeremy, he finished first and he chose Aviv. So I was excited to see them as a pairing. I felt like this would have been a strong pair if it would to continue. But I'm happy to see Jeremy there. I feel like he's going to be a good competitor, and Aviv is always a great one to watch too. So I'm excited to see her.
Yeah, Jeremy was super impressive. I think he is going to be one to watch this season. And I mean, look, Aviv's a good choice. Like, she's very strong. I was a little bit surprised to see him pick Aviv, only because Aviv is like not like a main name, like a huge name on this show. Like I would think that okay, first choice you're gonna choose like Kara or I don't know who else is here. Like Ashley, who's a two-time winner, or I don't know, somebody like that who is seemingly like just a bigger name who's been around on a lot of seasons, has a lot of friends on the show. Like Aviva, someone who she's only done 2 seasons total, and one of those was like 15 years ago. So I mean, like it almost like Aviv is kind of closer to a rookie than a vet. So I think she's very strong. I just don't know that that was like the smartest move in terms of choosing somebody who is socially in a good spot and has a lot of close connections. So we'll see. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because the pairs are already over. But yeah, in choosing somebody who you think you may be the whole season with, I don't know that that was necessarily like the choice that I would make.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, we don't know what was going through his mind in that moment exactly, but that's who we decided to go with. But next up we had Izzy, and she chose Theo. So Izzy is from Too Hot to Handle. So did not watch her season. But she seems like she's gonna bring some drama to this season so far. I mean, she had already a fling start, but then well, short lived. But she did not choose that guy. She did not choose Rogan.
Rogan.
Yeah, because I don't know exactly why she didn't want to choose him, but she chose Theo instead. Um, and I mean, I feel like that was also smart just to not choose who you're perceived to be in a almost showmance with in that moment. And Theo's obviously really strong.
Well, I think this was actually a very smart choice because Theo is connected with Olivia, obviously. And so I think by choosing Theo, you not only get your partner, but you basically also add Cedric. Well, we're going to find out. I mean, let's talk about Cedric and Olivia too,
Yeah.
I guess, right now, because they're the next. And the four of them are kind of almost now like a power foursome because Theo and Olivia are dating. And so when you choose Theo, you get, a 2-for-1 package, basically. So I thought this was very smart. Also, I think choosing a Brit in a season where there are a lot of Brits, and Brits always in these seasons tend to form a UK alliance. So I think that was a very, very smart choice by Izzy. And yeah, I'm excited to see Izzy. Also did not watch her season of Too Hot to Handle, but I did see her on Perfect Match,
Mhm.
season one, I believe. So I kind of remember her from that. I really don't, but like she looked familiar to me, if that,
Yeah.
And yeah, it seems like she's a big presence on this season already. So I think she's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'm excited to see Cedric with Olivia. I mean, well,
Yes,
that's not
always
gonna happen, but
young
with
Cedric is
Cedric,
very excited to see him.
yes. And he did really well with this first competition too. So that was good to see him do well there.
Yeah, I
And
forgot that
so
he was in the military.
yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so I that comes in handy, I think, on this
Oh,
show. That's like the best training you can get for the challenge, because the guy who creates the finals a lot and is a or at least used to. I don't know if he still does, but I know for War of the Worlds 1, which is like known as the hardest final of all time, was created by a guy who was in the military. And you can kind of get that vibe. And so if he's working on this season at all, I think that Cedric will come at an advantage for something like that, where that is kind of like in his mind when creating the challenges, that someone who has experience with that will, I would think, do well.
yeah, for sure. And then next up we have Sydney choosing Leroy. So what did you think about this pairing?
Look, Sydney's from Survivor 41. She was the first ever victim of the Emergatory. And look, I don't really remember Sydney all that well, but she is coming in strong. She has a lot of confidence. And more power to her. I mean, I hope she can back it up, is all I can say. And it seems like she's doing pretty well so far, but I hope that she is able to back up those words with some actions. And look, I will absolutely take anyone who's willing to make a splash and, not afraid to go against the grain and not going to let the vets just steamroll things and manipulate. I hope that she is able to, to stand strong and stop that from happening. So we'll see.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really remember her either, and she is definitely coming out very strong on this. So maybe she wants to make sure she is remembered here. So can't blame her for that.
Yeah. She kind of gives me like Laurel vibes a bit.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well,
Laurel obviously is one of those people that is able to back up her confidence with action. So we'll
yeah,
see if Sydney can.
for sure. And then we have Jake with Cara Maria. So now Cara Maria is chosen. And Jake is. I'm trying to remember where he's from again. Um,
Well, he's from
oh
UK. He is
yeah,
part of the
Love
UK
Island
Alliance.
UK. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did not watch his season, but he seems like he'll be a good new threat.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen a ton of Jake. I mean, like he was one of the options for elimination here, but other than that, I mean, I feel like I didn't get a great sense of his personality from here. I
Yeah.
also have not watched Love Island UK, so I'm not super familiar with him. But I don't dislike him yet. I think, it's kind of a wait and see. I don't have strong feelings either way yet.
Same.
I do have strong feelings of not love for Cara Maria. So as he was associated with Cara, I was rooting against him. But now that he is no longer associated with Cara Maria, none of these pairs are really associated with each other. I will reserve judgment.
Yeah, for sure. And then next up we have Michaela, and she chose Will. So Will is from he's from the Are You
Are you
the
the one?
One? Yeah. So also did not recognize him, but I love Michaela because she's from Survivor and she's also been on the challenge, of course. So I feel like then like just Michaela on the show is always entertaining to have. So I'm excited to have her back on this season.
Love Michaela. So happy to see her here. I know when the cast was dropping as they were filming, a lot of the vets, it was like, oh, okay, them again, them again. Like, just kind of the people you expect every season at this point. But Michaela, when she dropped, I was like, oh, yes. Finally, we get her back on the main show because she was first out on her first season, Spies, Lies, and Allies, and then came back a couple years later on USA 2 and made it to the finals. She was great on there. And, but a lot of people from the USAs haven't come back since then. And
Mm-hmm.
so kind of thought maybe that was the end of Michaela being on the challenge. But then we saw her here, so excited. And I really, really hope that she does well because she is exactly the type of person who I think is just great on this show and has a lot of potential to both do well and be super entertaining.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm excited for that. And then a vet that was expected to be here, like always, Bananas here again, and he chose D, and she won Survivor. So great choice, I would say, from his perspective. But D wasn't too thrilled because she was like, I don't want to be seen as a threat, and anytime anyone's paired with Bananas, they're a threat.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dee did really well with, like, I feel like as a female, like obviously doing competition show, like in a Survivor setting, like you obviously have to do a lot of competition. So like that's also like she had that under her belt to come into this. So I feel like she's gonna do well here in the challenge. I'm excited to see her.
Oh yeah, I think D has so much potential to do amazing here. It's kind of crazy that we're going to see D here and on Survivor 50 in just a couple months. So
Yeah.
we're going to be seeing a lot of D, but I am not complaining about that. I it's so predictable that Bananas would go for D. I mean, she is exactly his type, exactly like, if you look back at his girlfriends, besides Morgan, I feel like Morgan was a bit of an outlier, but like a lot of the people that he's been with on these shows, like Camilla, Natalie Negrotti, like it's a very specific type that he goes for. And some of the comments that Banana made about D didn't love, felt a little icky about it. But so not surprised that he chose her, but I think D is not one who's going to just be manipulated by Bananas, not just going to go with whatever he says and, do his bidding. I think that she has absolutely the strategic chops and personality to push back against him when she needs to, and she'll see right through him.
Oh, I know. She already kind of is in her ITMs, whatever they call them in uh,
Confessionals.
confessionals. Yeah, I'm like, there's so many different names.
I know.
But yeah, I feel like she already is like, yeah, I don't want to be with him. But we'll see what's gonna happen
Yeah.
because there were some cuddling previews. It looked like
I
as
know.
they
I
were going
know.
on.
I mean,
But
look, girl, do what you got to do. I'm not judging. As
exactly,
long as you see through him, as long as that doesn't get you to, cloud your judgment, I'm all for it. Do what you need to do.
yeah. Oh, for sure. But next up we had Adrienne, and she chose Rogan. So I feel like I don't know a ton about Adrienne either.
I don't either.
um,
She's from Married at First Sight,
yeah,
Australia, right?
yeah.
So,
Oh, UK,
um, UK, okay.
another Brit.
So yeah, a Brit and Brit team here, and yeah, not a big fan of Rogan. He, although he was on the Challenge podcast this week, and he came off more likable there than I think I usually find him, but he said some comments before that have been kind of controversial, not great. So siding him from that if nothing else. But yeah, no, I feel like we haven't seen much of Adrian yet, other than she got hurt in the first challenge,
Yeah.
which was sad to see. But other than that, I mean, she seems like she was uh trying hard even after getting hurt and didn't let that stop her, and she's continuing on in the competition. She didn't get sent home for it. So, I hope that injury doesn't eventually gets her sent home. Sometimes we see that where like they think it'll heal, they try to continue on, and then like in 2 weeks they say, sorry, it didn't heal fast enough, you're gonna have to get surgery or something, and then pull her from the game. So I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, I mean, so far I will say another kind of TBD one.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't really attached to her, but I mean, there's so many people, so it's hard to be attached to that many people.
But
But
here's one we are attached to.
yes, exactly. I was about to say, good segue because we do love America. So Turbo chose America from Big Brother. So we also met America at the RHAP Survivor event last year in Houston. And so that was really great. I mean, it was a very quick interaction, but she was great to meet in person. We have a picture with her. So basically famous. But
Yes. Yeah, as we were coming out of the bathroom, run into America.
but
No,
I'm
yeah,
so excited to see her.
yes,
Yes.
God bless America. I love America, and I liked Turbo's reason for picking her. That America has allowed him to chase his dreams, and so she wants to choose America. I thought that was cute. I think that they're going to. This is one of those teams that I really wish was staying longer than just this week because they could have been a comedic duo like no other. I
Right.
mean, Turbo, I can just imagine him getting so pissed at America, so frustrated with her, and America just being like, "Stop it being telling me what to do." Like, I think they would have been hilarious together, but we might still, of course, see them work together in different ways or interact. So this isn't over yet, but yeah, so excited to see America here. I really hope that she makes it far because I could see it kind of going both ways with her. Like I could see her either being an early exit just because like maybe people think that she's a little weaker, people think she'll be an easy person to eliminate in the arena. Um but I could also see her being very well liked and getting in socially with people and having a good strategic or social game. And so maybe that'll protect her for a while. I could see it going both ways with her, but I really, really hope she does well here.
I hope so too, because I love watching her, and so hopefully she makes it pretty far. Next up, we have Ashley chose Gabe. So Ashley's a vet. We've seen her around a lot. Gabe is a wrestler, pro wrestler, or
What is
fighter.
Gabe?
Oh
He
no,
is,
wrestler.
yeah, former, yeah,
Yeah.
a wrestler, WWE.
Okay, yeah. So he's gonna probably be good at some of these challenges he
Oh,
has to
I'm
do
sure.
here. But haven't really gotten a ton from him, I feel like, yet.
Yeah, we haven't. I thought it was funny that Ashley didn't remember his name. I think she said
Yeah.
Will, and then oh no, Gabe. So that was funny. But yeah, Millionaire Mitchell is back. It's been a while since we've seen Ashley. Besides, we saw her on All Stars this past season, but it's been a little while since she's been on the main show. But love Ashley. She, I mean, if you have not gone back to watch Final Reckoning, her winning moment where she steals the money from her partner, Hunter, that is a moment that you must go see. Like, pause this, go to YouTube, and go search Ashley Mitchell winning the Challenge Final Reckoning because it's an iconic moment. So always excited to see Ashley.
Yes, for sure. And then we have Derek. We have two Dereks. So
Derek
Derek
Kaczynski.
K.
Yeah,
Yeah, he chose Lika.
I think
Um
it's Aleka.
Leka. Yeah, I was like, I feel like that's wrong. Leka.
She's from
Um,
Canada's Ultimate Challenge.
yeah. So I don't know. Don't have too much to say about this pairing right now. What about you?
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of Leka yet, but I have heard through the grapevine that she was like the star of her show. Like she was a big personality. Like I think she got in some drama. So it sounds like she is like perfect for this show. So I hope that she's lasts long enough that we get to see that. The fact that we haven't seen much of her yet actually I think is a good sign when we don't see a lot of someone in the premiere. Like it could mean that they're early out and they just don't want to build them up as a character, but it could also mean like there's time.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna get their moment later on. Like, they don't need to stuff it all in the first few episodes because they're gonna be here a while. So it
Mhm.
could be a good sign, but yeah, we will see.
Yeah. And then Nani chose Ben. So, I don't know. Where was Ben from again?
Ben
Oh,
is
he
like
was
a
North
sports
Carolina.
commentator.
Yeah, so he's not anyone that I remember, or if not from a show that we know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like this has potential. I mean, obviously now we know the changes, but like at this moment, I was like, okay, this could be a pairing.
Yeah, Ben is great on Twitter. I will say
Yeah.
that. He tweets a lot. A lot, a lot. If you tweet him, he will respond. And he is, I think, a reality TV fan, or at least has become one, because he's in Chat BCC, I believe.
Oh wow.
I think I saw him there on the Big Brother Chat BCC. So he has become part of the community, whether he started as one or not. So I am rooting for him just because of that.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I'll root for him now too. I didn't realize that. So, we'll have to see how he does in the season.
Yes.
Um, and then we have Derek C. He's dyed his hair blonde now. And he chose Blue. So Blue from Big Brother. I was excited to see her as well. I feel like she's big personality already coming through on the challenge as well. So I'm glad to see this pairing.
Yeah, Blue. I mean, look, I was not the biggest Blue fan on BB25, because she was somebody who I felt like was kind of boring in the house, but like had this annoying fake persona in the DR that was just like, ugh, like this just doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel real to me. Like it feels like she's trying to play this up. But here, she's a totally different person. I love Blue on the challenge. Like
Yeah.
feels like she's fun. She made me laugh during her interrogation with TJ, like where she was like, "Girl," blah blah blah, and he's like, "Don't call me girl," and I think that was funny. I mean, like it just feels
Yeah.
like Blue has like found her niche. Like she's fully confident now, and she seems like she's playing the game, and she is. I don't know. Maybe Jared was just like weighting her down on BB, and now she's single and spreading her wings. And I don't know. I'm rooting for Blue now. I really am a Blue fan all of a sudden.
Me too. I mean, it's a different show completely, so I think that also has to do with it. Just like kind of that different environment, and
Mhm.
she can be herself, which
Now, if
is
she betrays America again, watch out, Blue.
yeah. We have some stipulations with it, but we'll
Yes.
we'll see. And then Tay chose CT, so CT is back. um,
Shocking.
not shocked at all. Yeah. So
CT's not in the best shape though this season. I
no.
don't know. And I think like we've seen this before where CT comes in, not seemingly in the best shape. And so people underestimate him and then he somehow winds his way all the way to the end. But I don't know a lot about Tay. Tay is from Big Brother Australia. Now I don't know a lot about Big Brother Australia. I'm not sure how much of that is like Big Brother UK where it's fan votes versus like how much strategy there is. So I'm not sure if that prepared her too much for this show, but I feel like we just haven't seen a lot of her yet. So another TBD in my book.
Yeah, same. And then we had Leo choose Anissa. So what do you think about them?
So Leo's from Love Island, season
Yeah.
5. Leo was paired with Cassie, and we love Cassie. So because of that, we don't love Leo. But I yeah, I don't have any like super strong feelings from what we saw.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like this is just we'll have to wait and see another pairing that we just don't know, or another new threat that we
I
just
thought it was funny where he was like, "I don't know how to do these on the fly confessionals," and it's like you were on a whole show, like you know what this is. Like that was weird.
yep. But last but not least, then we had Nia and
Naya.
Justin left. So Naya, sorry, Naya and Justin left. So then they became the pairing here. So what do you think about them?
Love Justin.
Yeah.
A huge fan of Justin. We'll get more into that, but big fan of Justin from what we've seen so far. And Naya is somebody who used to be I mean, if you go back to her Real World season, Naya is intense. She was like too far of a villain. Like a like dangerous, I don't want to be in the same room with her villain because she was like attacking people with hair dryers. But she has totally calmed down now. She's a totally different person and like almost boring now. Which is really weird to say for Naya. But like these last couple seasons, she hasn't done a whole lot. So but I still I like Naya now. So I'm happy to see her, but we'll see if she actually like, brings anything entertainment value wise to the show.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And Justin is from Cheer, so he is, even though he chosen last year, like he is a physical person. So it was shocking to see him be that last one chosen, or not even
People
chosen.
underestimate cheerleaders and,
Yeah,
gay men, and Justin has proven them wrong.
exactly. Also, next up, we did see the first challenge officially. Then it is called the Mud Ball Madness, and 320 balls were dropped into a crater filled with mud. And then the teams had to be tied to each other, and they had to race to grab one ball each and then deposit them into their bin. So it was a lot of running back and forth for them, and the different color balls or worth a different amount of points. So the team with the most points would win that. And then that team would get to choose a team to be safe going into the arena. So it's not choosing who they want to get in, and just choosing who they want to be safe. And then the last place team automatically goes into the arena. And then the rest of the house will then vote on who will be going against them. So this made sense in the format of it and the challenge, all pretty straightforward there.
Yeah, I like this because what I like when the last place team automatically goes in because there's only so much that like a majority alliance or something like that can control. Because like last place, you're going in and you could potentially go home, and so it's not like they can just you know control the two teams that are in. Because sometimes it's like okay, the first place team is safe automatically and then like they choose one team and then the house votes on the other team or something like that. And so then it's always possible that like just you get some big alliance that can fully control week after week every time. And so I like when it's a last place team automatically goes in because that can be more unpredictable.
Yeah, no, agreed. I feel like that just makes the most sense here too. But that was good to see that. And then TJ also reveals that this season will have no coasting because there'll be a point system for all daily challenges. So the winning team will get 8 points, second place team gets 7 points, etc. as you go down the line there. And then eventually the points will come into play later on in the season. So we don't know exactly what this means yet, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that it's something to do with the final. Like the person who has the most points will get an advantage in the final, or something to that effect. I feel like that's kind of usually like we saw with the karma points last season
Mhm.
that played an effect, really played effect, and in not a great way. But this is better. If they're gonna do something like this is much more fair and better than something like karma points.
Yeah, for sure. And as we already discussed, Adrienne unfortunately injured her foot during the challenge. So she and Rogan were in last place. So then they were the team with just with no points
And
there
going into elimination.
going into
Yeah.
elimination. Yeah. So they didn't even get any points here.
No. Nor
But
nor did the other bottom 8 teams or the other
yeah,
7. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll have to see how that's going to come into play. But Bananas and D, they get first place. So they got 8 points there. And then TJ announces that only one person from the losing team will go into elimination. So then it's determined by a flip of a coin. And that's going to decide if it's a boys or girls elimination day. And it was determined that it's a boys' day, meaning that Rogan will go in. So that was just a luck of the draw there.
Which I was glad because if
Yeah.
Adrian had gone in, that would have been a really predictable. Like she has a hurt foot. She probably would not have done well in this elimination. So I think that we got lucky that it was Rogan, and we ended up getting a much more unpredictable, exciting outcome because of that.
Yeah, oh for sure. So then we see all the deliberations of who's gonna go in next to Rogan, and Rogan decides that he wants to go in against Justin because Justin's a rookie and that he views him as being the easiest to beat. But then Nia is upset when she hears Justin's name being thrown around since she doesn't know how it'll affect her game because she's not sure how this team is gonna work or if then she'll be sent home. So there's some uncertainty there for Nia, which upset her, but it's interesting why Rogan wants to go against Justin because I mean later on we see what happens there.
Yeah, this was poetic. I mean,
Yeah.
to watch Rogan this whole time being like, "Oh, I hope it's not a cheerleading competition." Like, making little comments like that and just like thinking, "Oh, if I get Justin, it's a set deal that I'm going to win." Like, we love to see an overconfident man get humbled.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then Bananas confronts Theo about how he and Olivia were plotting against him with the UK alliance, and then Theo tells him that he was paranoid, and Olivia's looking out for her own game and wants revenge on Bananas for putting her against Michelle last season, which sent her home. So there's just some, I feel like always in the challenge, just past traumas coming back up.
And that's what makes the challenge so unique is that you do get that every season where these relationships, ebb and flow every time. And that's what makes it so different than something like Survivor or Big Brother, where if it's not an all-star season, these are all complete strangers and they're meeting each other for the first time. But on the challenge, they do have these past histories that come into play. And yeah, I'm glad that Olivia, I kind of figured that like Olivia was on Banana's podcast after last season. Like they're fine, but I do like that there's still some simmering resentment and some desire for revenge that I'm excited to see.
Oh yes, for sure. And then we see a moment that later comes to play where we see more of this turmoil there. But Derek and Justin were having a heart to heart where Derek tells Justin he understands what he's going through and feeling underestimated due to being gay. And then he promises Justin that he wouldn't vote for him. So, promise unkept, but it was a nice moment they were having.
It was a really nice moment. Like in that moment, I was really, really happy to see that because someone like Derek can understand what Justin's going through, and there are similarities to their stories. And I was glad that okay, I'm glad that Justin has someone like Derek who can walk him through this and be there for him in this moment. And it was just so confusing and heartbreaking to then see Derek go back on his word here when he promises him that he's not going to vote for him. And it's one thing to make that promise, but it's another thing to tie that promise to something so serious and so emotional, and like to have this moment that Justin didn't ask for, like to just voluntarily, provide him this support and make that promise to him, that you chose to make, and then to just the next day go back on it for game purposes. And I just don't understand it. I know that that Derek has been on social media trying to defend himself, and I just think it was unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's kind of just at this point like you didn't have to be such a game in a game in that moment. Like when he obviously then we can talk about now with the votes of we get to see of which teams vote for who. And so we go through that and Justin and Naya did vote or sorry, not that Derek and who's his partner? Derek and Blue voted for Justin. So that was unfortunate there. And the rest of the teams that voted for Justin were Theo and Izzy, Olivia and Cedric, Derek and Leica, Turbo and America, Anissa and Leo, Car Maria and Jake, and also CT and Tay. So Justin had the most votes. But there were also votes for Jake. So we had Aviv and Jeremy voting for Jake, Michaela and Will, Ashley and Gabe, Leroy and Sydney, Naya and Justin, and then Nani and Ben. So it was kind of a close one here.
It really was.
But ultimately, then Justin had to go in and play against Rogan. So, what were your thoughts on these votes? Obviously, we talked about the Derek voting for Justin here, but did the other ones make sense?
Yeah, so there was this plan that took place between the U.S. vets, that they were going to try to weaken the UK alliance, because they knew that the UK alliance was coming for bananas, and they wanted to do that by trying to force a UK versus UK elimination, and specifically a UK rookie, who they thought that Rogan could potentially take out. And so they decided that Jake was that option, that, like, regardless that they could get a UK person out, and preferably even a UK rookie. And they wanted bananas to save Theo, because they believed that Theo and Izzy's vote would then be taken away, because they knew that bananas and Dee couldn't vote. So they thought, okay, like, if they save somebody, then they also wouldn't be able to vote. But they were wrong about that.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter, and ended up that they've saved them for nothing. But that was kind of the plan that they had. And then, of course, that was thwarted by like people like CT, protecting Kara by voting for Justin, and just not everybody, going with their word on that, and they didn't end up having enough numbers.
Yeah, for sure. I was sad to see Justin go in, but we got an interesting arena challenge here, so elimination challenge, where Justin and Rogan were playing Inertia. So there are two tracks in the middle of the arena with three bumps, and they have to maneuver their bodies in a wheel to get over all three bumps to get to the end of the track and then back again. And the first to do that wins this challenge, and the other is eliminated. So this one was a close one, and it was not so easy for Rogan here. Justin ends up winning, unlike what Rogan thought would happen. So now Rogan is eliminated, which was great to see.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch this. Yeah, I mean, this is what you hope for on the challenge, I think, where it's an underdog, ending up winning and surprising everyone. And I loved watching that. That was a really perfect ending for this episode, I thought. And I was really, really happy to see Justin win and prove himself.
Yeah. And Justin even called out Derek for voting for him after saying that Derek would promise not to vote for him. So that's going to definitely be coming into play, I feel like, throughout the season here as well. The drama there, if that's going to, maybe they'll make amends, or it's going to continue on. What's going to happen? I feel like Justin won't forgive, but he could forget somewhat and then come back to it.
I mean, look, like, you never know what can happen, and,
Yeah.
and later in the game they could end up being on the same side for whatever reason. But it certainly seems like Justin was hurt by this, which he absolutely should be, and I don't blame him at all for calling Derek out.
Yeah, agreed. So we'll have to wait to see what happens there. But then also, because now that Adrienne is without a partner, TJ announces that because she doesn't have a partner, she is now considered a hangnail. And we don't know what that means yet. But also, we also hear now that everyone is switching partners. So it wasn't until the end of the episode that we heard that news. But that was pretty expected. It seemed like they weren't going to stay with these partners forever. So we'll have to see also with the Adrienne hangnail and what that means in the coming weeks. But I'm excited to see this season. I feel like it's already off to a really great start, as you were saying, with already getting drama in the first episode, and we're getting to see a lot of these different players and their personalities. Obviously, there's still a lot to see since there were so many of them, but I think it's going to be a great season.
I am so excited. I think that this was a really strong start, and I think there's a lot of potential for, yeah, a lot of drama here. The preview looks really good, and
Yeah.
I can't wait. Glad we are in another challenge season. It feels like too long since we've had one.
I know it has, since like a regular one has
Yeah,
been
yeah,
on
yeah.
it. Yeah. So it's exciting. And we'll be covering this in the coming weeks as more things will happen throughout the season. But Big Brother every week, of course. So make sure you're caught up on that. And there's so many shows right now with Perfect Match just coming out, and Beyond the Villa obviously still happening. And there's just a lot where there's no lull in the reality TV world right now.
There never is, but especially not right now. It feels like especially for a summer, it feels like we have a lot going on, which
Yes.
is good. No, not complaining.
And Bachelor in Paradise, I've actually been enjoying that. The new season, the new format of it.
I'm behind on that, but I
Yeah.
liked the new visuals of it all.
Yeah. So there's lots to be keeping up with. Make sure you're subscribed to us as we're covering each week at Let's Chat Reality on all platforms you get podcasts on, as well on social media at Let's Chat Reality. And we'll be sure to chat with y'all next week. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye, everyone.